The Cost of Discipleship, Part 2. That is our topic today. Luke 9:23 is a very popular verse, or should be a very popular verse in Christian circles or in our mind. It's one we should memorize. Jesus says, "If any man would come after me, let him take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. For whoever desires to lose his life will save it, but whoever desires to save his life will lose it. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world, yet forfeits his very soul?" And so we see in that call there many things, but the first off is that if anyone would be a Christian, if anyone would be a disciple, they must deny himself, take up his their cross, which means to die to self, and follow Jesus Christ. Looking back to Dietrich Bonhoeffer's work, I'm going to read the second paragraph in this first chapter. So hopefully you saw yesterday, as we're continuing on with this thought of cheap grace. Here he defines what cheap grace is as he means it. Cheap grace means as a doctrine, a principle, a system. It means forgiveness of sins proclaimed as a general truth, the love of God taught as the Christian conception of God. An intellectual assent to the idea is held of itself sufficient to secure remission of sins. The church which holds the correct doctrine of grace has, it's supposed, ipso facto, a part in that grace. In such a church, the world finds a cheap covering for its sins. No contrition is required, still less any real desire to be delivered from sin. Cheap grace, therefore, amounts to a denial of the living Word of God. In fact, a denial of the incarnation of the Word of God. So as we see that call in Luke 9:23, and yesterday we saw a call in Mark chapter 1, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." We see in both those calls there is something to leave behind and something that Christ is calling us to. And so Bonhoeffer's fear here is that the church has begun to miss that call, if you will, and miss the fact that although grace is free and freely given, that it's costly in the sense that it costs Christ everything, and that it calls us to something. So we're not saved by works by any means. And I don't think Bonhoeffer is in any way insinuating that. But he's saying this grace is not cheap. Grace was given to transform, as he's going to later say. But what we see here is he's saying we've got to get rid of this idea of cheap grace, which is just merely an intellectual proposition of believing the right idea about God. Now, if we truly believe that and internalize it and live it out, then all is well. So we don't want to make too little of belief. But here, what he's saying is this belief isn't truly believed, right? It isn't working its way into the soul, if you will. And so it's simply believing doctrines without seeing the grace to which we are called. Doctrinal purity is a very important thing, for we can't have the right action without the right belief first. So we first do have to have the right belief. But I think Bonhoeffer is saying that the church in his day, at least, and I still think we see that in some circles, stop there. They stop with the right belief. They have the word and sacrament, and that's all that's needed, and there's no true change in anyone's life. And there's no real understanding of the call of what God indeed is calling believers to be, not only in this world, but the transformation he's seeking in each of us. We'll stop there for today. Have a blessed 4th of July weekend. I'm going to see you guys again on Monday, which is 4th of July. So these devotionals, I'm going to be doing Monday through Friday on this from here on out. So we had been doing Monday through Saturday, taking off for the Lord's Day on Sunday. So from here on out, and I'll be doing Monday through Friday. I think that just makes it a little bit easier for everyone to keep up. Makes it easier for me to do them, but mainly just 6 days a week, sometimes it's hard on Saturday, especially if people have things going on. So we'll see you guys Monday. Start the holiday weekend, or holiday, 4th of July. We'll start it off right with the devotional. Probably do part 3 of the Cost of Discipleship. So let me know if you guys are liking this. We'll be doing some different things in the future. Maybe some thoughts on what you would want to hear, or if there's been some devotional series you've been blessed by in the past. Maybe I can look at those. There's a few different ones I'm looking at, but I appreciate all the feedback and comments everyone has been giving me. So we'll see you guys soon.